So I spoke yesterday about the car loan scandal, about how there could potentially be billions of pounds of payouts sent to customers because of some dodgy car loans, basically. And I didn't explain too much about what the cause of this was. I just explained what has happened in terms of the Treasury bailing out these companies and also why the government's done this. And I didn't go too in depth with it just because it was a long enough video as it was, but I felt like I owe you guys a proper explanation for what's going on here if you're not aware of this. I wasn't aware of it until too recently, either, in fairness, but this has been going on for a good few months now, since November at least. And in terms of when it's actually been occurring, it's been going on for years with these companies. But let me just go through this article first of all from the BBC News, and then also go into some of your comments as well that you left on the previous video, because very interesting points, and I have to say I do agree with some of them. But yeah, I will go into all that as we go through the video. Full article here on bbcnews.com. Or .co.uk, I should say. People missold finance agreements when buying cars could wait months for a decision on whether they should receive compensation. A decision by judges at the Court of Appeal has blown open an ongoing saga into hidden commission payments, with buyers possibly in line for payouts totaling billions of pounds. Now, this was last updated back in December. Potentially that is on the cards now, although there is an appeal process that's going to go on until at least April. But the highest Supreme Court has now agreed to hear an appeal against the decision. The Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, has also allowed motor finance providers extra time to deal with complaints. Lawyers acting for motorists say this could further delay compensation, which should be paid to car buyers who may not have given their informed consent for the commission payments. Who may be in line for payouts? The vast majority of new cars and many second-hand ones are bought with finance agreements. About 2 million are sold this way each year, with customers paying an initial deposit, then a monthly fee with interest for the vehicle. I do that personally with mine. I know a lot of people do that because buying a car in a whole lump sum is, that's a big expense. That's a lot of money. It's like another deposit for a house, and it's hard enough to even get a deposit for a house these days. In a complicated and long-running series of developments, many of these agreements have come under scrutiny. In 2021, the FCA banned deals in which the dealer received a commission from the lender based on the interest rate charged to the customer. It said that this provided an incentive for the buyer to be charged a higher than necessary interest rate. Since January, it has been considering whether compensation should be paid to people with these deals before 2021. That has created the prospect of banks and other lenders having to make payouts totaling millions of pounds. Last month, a decision at the Court of Appeal broadened the net of those who could receive compensation, potentially increasing the lender's final bill to billions of pounds. I think they've estimated it could be up to £3 billion in total. Why was the decision so important from the judge? While the initial investigation surrounded discretionary commission arrangements, which were banned in 2021, the Court of Appeal decision widened the scope to any car finance commissions. The three judges unanimously agreed that it would be illegal for the lender to pay any commission to the dealer without the informed consent of the buyer. In other words, customers should be clearly told how much commission would be paid and agreed to it, without those deals being buried in the terms and conditions of the loan, which obviously that has not been the case for a lot of people. And this is the guy who kind of started it all here, Marcus Johnson. What a legend. Buying a Suzuki Swift as well. Potentially a great car choice. I've heard mixed things though. But anyway, that's not important here. The hearing included the test case of Marcus Johnson from Cwmbran in Wales, who bought his first car, a Suzuki Swift, in 2017. He was not informed that the dealership was being paid 25% commission, which was added on to what he had to pay back. So essentially what's happened there, let's say just for argument's sake that he would normally have been charged £100 per month for this car. That's all the interest and everything included. It's just a monthly flat fee throughout the duration of the contract. Let's say 3 years. It normally is about 3 or 4 years. But instead of being charged that £100 from the dealership, he was actually charged £125. These are just numbers, by the way. It's just for an example purpose. I don't know how much he was paying. I don't know how much it was for. How long it was for, I should say. But he obviously wasn't, that wasn't actually in there. He wasn't actually informed about that. Where it's like, well, you're paying us £100. This is with the dealer speaking, by the way. You're paying us £100, but £25 on top of that is going to go in commission as well. So people should legally be informed about that. People have not been, which is why they could well have to pay out a lot of money. And I think it's been decided now that he's going to get paid about £3,400, I think it said in the recent article, which, again, it's not a huge amount of money. You'd take it. You'd definitely take it. But in the sense of everybody who has these car deals, billions of pounds get added up very quickly because millions of people finance. I don't know how many people do cars on finance, but it's got to be in the millions, surely, in the UK. We've got 30 million vehicles, I think, in the United Kingdom, so millions have to be on finance, surely. I signed a few documents and then drove away in the car, he told the BBC. He said he had no option but to use finance when he bought the car, describing it as heartbreaking to find out how much extra money had been taken. Someone in my situation at the time, not being able to buy that kind of age car with cash, you would use finance, he said. And obviously, if you buy it in that lump sum, let's just say it's a 20 grand car, if you buy it on finance, you're going to have to pay over the whole thing 35 grand because of the interest. It's similar to a mortgage. You borrow, I don't know, 100 grand or something like that, but you'll end up paying back over 30, 40 years, 200 grand because of the interest. So effectively, it's being taken from him illegally, and that's what's been ruled. Following the judge's decision in his and two other car buyers' favour, banks have set aside millions of pounds for potential compensation. Other lenders have temporarily paused any new deals. It's thought the total compensation could reach 25 billion. Wow, okay, well, I think it's been revised a lot lower since then, but either way, billions, it's a lot of money. How did the regulator respond? The FCA said the decision could lead to dealers and motor finance providers receiving a deluge of new complaints, and it's urging people to make a claim if they think they were the victim of mis-selling. Some could come from people previously told they had no claim for compensation because they did not have this discretionary commission arrangement. The regulator has extended the time provided have to consider complaints until December 2025, aligning the deadline for firms to deal with discretionary and non-discretionary arrangement complaints. The time period covers claims regarding leasing deals as well as personal contract purchase PCP agreements. The FCA also wants the Supreme Court to make a quick decision on when it will reconsider the Court of Appeal's ruling, which is going to be April now, I believe. It was an orderly compensation system if it comes to that. The Finance and Leasing Association, the trade body for motor finance providers, welcomed the extension. However, others have questioned whether it creates further compensation delay for those who missold these arrangements. So what's happened since then is that the Treasury of the United Kingdom, the finance people of the UK, basically have effectively bailed out a lot of these companies, stopped them from going under. Now, I said in my previous video that the reasoning for the Treasury doing this is because they don't want these companies to go out of business. Therefore, if that was to happen, then there would be less competition, there would be less competitive market, people will buy less cars, the market will shrink, it will hurt the economy, etc., etc. It's a kind of spiraling case there, and obviously the UK is in a lot of trouble as it is. But the counter argument to that I've heard in a lot of the comments on that previous video, and not without merit, I see their point. It's technically true. That it's not the Treasury that has bailed out these companies. It's the United Kingdom taxpayer. And that's correct. In an indirect sense, that is absolutely correct, of course, because you have to consider the fact that, of course, the government, the Treasury, everything when it comes to that is all based upon all their money comes from the UK. We pay their wages. We pay the wages for police and public servants, the NHS, everything in the UK. Taxpayer money goes to paying that. That's how it works. That's why we pay tax for goods and services. It's very elementary, but it's true. And of course, then it's like, well, I didn't vote for this. I didn't choose for my tax pounds to go and bail out companies who have effectively broken the law and are being punished for doing so. So effectively, what people are saying is, and again, don't disagree with this because it's technically true, the government is effectively using your money to pay for private companies to survive an illegal offence that they have made that has nothing to do with you and that you may well be the victim of. So think about it this way. This honestly is pretty bad when you think about it, but think about it this way, right? I'll use me as an example here because I'm a good example. Let's use me, right? So I've got my car. I love it. I pay for it every single month with my monthly repayments as it is. I agreed to a couple of years ago when I got it. But let's just say, and I'm going to look it up for myself, by the way. I haven't looked it up yet for me. I'm definitely going to make a claim if I can. But let's just say, and I'm not saying this is the case for me, but it might be, given the fact that my deal is one of the ones that is mentioned in there, that type. What if my car was with that commission thing 25%? So we're talking a good amount of money here. We're talking north of £100, I will say that, per month. Let's just say That happened. I'm the same as that dude from Cumbrawn, Mr. Johnson, right? Marcus Johnson, whatever his name is. You know, let's just say that I've got to pay, that I've had that same deal, and it was like, oh, you've got to pay this much, but you've really got to pay this much, and we're not going to tell you that, though. We're just going to keep it on, we're going to keep it on the quiet. We're not going to include it in the paperwork or anything, right? So, with that all in mind, potentially, I am owed money from this company because I was illegally sold this deal. I was not made aware of that during the paperwork and everything like that. So then effectively they pay me out, right? Hopefully I win that case or whatever. They pay me out for it. And on top of that, but to save that company from going bust because of all the payouts they've had to do, my tax money and everybody else's tax money is going to the government who are paying them. It's a really, really messed up thing when you think about it, isn't it? You know, they're effectively paying for their transgressions with the money that they are paying out to you in a roundabout sort of way. Do you see what I mean? It's a really, really strange thing. And, you know, people are right to complain about it and be fuming about it. I sympathize with you guys. I really, really do. It is the Treasury that has decided to do this, but it is using, effectively, your money. It's their money, but where do they get their money? You, the taxpayer. I will leave it there. And when we see some more developments when it comes to this, of course, we'll bring you here on the motoringchronicle.com. It's a developing and ever-changing story. We'll have that appeal in April, and I'm sure we'll hear some other things in the meantime before then too, because it's going to rumble on, I should say, at least until December 25, when all those claims are put in. And it'll be like the, what's it called? Oh, goodness me, I can't remember the name. Payment Protection Insurance, PPI, that's it. It's going to be like that. It's going to go on for years and years, this, I reckon. So, yeah. See you soon for some more news from the weird and wacky and potentially illegal world of motoring here on the motoringchronicle.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see some more stuff like this as always, guys. And, of course, see you very soon. Appreciate all you guys. Thank you. Have a nice day.